Okay, Mario Kart 64, the quest for world record perfection. Summoning Salt. Mario Kart Pro, perhaps one of the best Mario Kart players in the world. I'm in this, I think.
64, being the world champion is the highest accomplishment you can obtain.
I know.
It's a community of thousands of players. With 16 courses you can get a non-shortcut world record in. There's records for both the fastest single lap and the fastest 3 laps, making for a total of 32 world records.
Huh.
For years, various champions would come along, sometimes holding a fairly large portion of the 32 records. Players like Kevin Booth and Alex Penev were on top in the late 90s.
That's just their full names?
Usually holding around half of the 32 records. In the early 2000s, MJ reached new heights for a champion, at times amassing over 20 of the 32 records at once. And that was incredible.
He's like the Squeex of Shawarma
Given
Legend,
how many
but for
top
Mario
level
Kart.
players there were actively playing the game, holding close to 2/3 of the records was astonishing.
Damn.
But in January 2011, an up-and-coming German player posted his first world record. His name was Matthias Rustemeyer. 2 years later,
Hi,
he
Matthias.
would become the non-shortcut champion, holding 12 out of 32 possible records. But as the months passed, it quickly became clear that Matthias's reign as the champion was going to be different from any that came before him.
2011?
By October 2013,
N64?
Matthias had extended his lead to 20 out of 32 records. A week later, he was at 24.
Hi, JQ.
By November,
Hi,
he hit
Queen
26. And at that point, he spelled it out.
Holy shit.
He was going to go for 32 out of 32 possible world records. That had never been done before. Nobody had even been close before. And it would be an embarrassment to the rest of the community if he actually pulled it off.
Chill, Mr. Salt.
So the other players formed an alliance.
The other players watching this? Alright, hey.
It was made up of the last few players clinging on to non-shortcut records.
They formed an alliance?
And some other top-level contenders.
What do they call themselves? Nerdy NATO? No, sorry.
Their goal was simple. Stop Matthias from achieving 32 out of 32. Only problem was, the man they were trying to stop was perhaps the greatest Mario Kart 64 player of all time. And what happened over the following years, nobody could have predicted.
What?
This was their quest to stop Matthias.
What a hook! What a hook! I'm in! The quest for 32 out of 32 world records. Thank you, Charles. God, I love Summoning Salt videos, man. I've recently come around to like video game YouTube. Like at the icebergs and stuff like this. It's so fun. I get it.
There's a couple things that need to be cleared up.
I usually don't watch this.
First, Mario Kart 64 is known for having large skips, or oversights from the developers that allow the player to skip massive portions of the track. Shortcuts like the Weather Tanko on Choco Mountain, the big jump at the start of Rainbow Road, or the wall jumps on Wario Stadium. However, the Mario Kart 64
These look easy. I want to try.
community has separate leaderboards for shortcut time trials and non-shortcut time trials. The shortcut records have their place in history, but we're going to be focusing on the 32 non-shortcut records. It's also worth mentioning how times are converted between NTSC and PAL. PAL versions of games are released in most regions of the Eastern Hemisphere,
like Europe.
while NTSC versions come out in North America and Japan. PAL Mario Kart 64 runs at 25 frames per second, while NTSC runs at 30 frames per second.
Okay, so young people in the chat, I don't know if they still do this, but games used to have a European version and an American version, and it used to be a little different. So it'd be super annoying for speedrunners.
That means that the PAL version runs in slow motion, running at 5/6 the speed of NTSC. An identical
still are
race
regional?
would be 17% slower on PAL than NTSC. The Mario Kart 64 community created the combined leaderboard to account for this, which adjusted NTSC and PAL times so they could be compared to each other.
So PAL is
Matthias
Europe,
and most
as I
other
would see it,
top-level
NTSC is
players
America.
play on PAL, since playing in slow motion makes driving a bit easier. So,
Yawn,
all
easy
times
version.
you'll see in this video will be listed as their PAL equivalent, which might be slower than times you're used to seeing if you live in North America or Japan. Anyway, let's go back to December 5th, 2013. That was the day the A1A Alliance was born, from a forum post by Zoran, one of the best Mario Kart 64 players around.
D.
A1A stood for the Anti-1.0 Alliance, with 1.0 referring to Matthias's average ranking if he got 32 out of 32 records. On December 5th,
This is
Matthias
bullying.
had just taken the Calamari Desert lap record from
Let
MJ,
him get it.
meaning he now had 28 out of 32 possible records. The only 4 he was missing were Moo Farm Lap, Moo Farm 3 Lap, DK Jungle Parkway 3 Lap, and Toad's Turnpike Lap. Being only 4 records away from 32 out of 32
Together
was
we
enough
are
to mobilize
stronger.
the A1A into action.
Wow.
One member in
chills.
particular saw a weakness in one of Matthias's times, so he got to work grinding to beat it. This runner's name was VAJ.
Vag?
Yeah, motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was like, whoa.
I'm rooting for Vag.
Yeah, man. You can't touch this. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. You can't touch this.
One of the reasons VAJ is legendary is because of his epic celebrations.
Epic.
But the other reason he's legendary is because he's really, really good at Mario Kart 64. He's held dozens of world records dating back to 2006 and still plays to this day.
Damn.
On December 5th,
Still around.
2013, he was tied with
Shout
Matthias
out
on Koopa
Vag.
Troopa Beach Lap. So he did attempts to break the tie and set
Dude,
Matthias
he's
back
recording
to
his
27
gameplay with a
records.
candy cam.
And on December 8th, he did. He beat the tie by 0.02, putting Matthias
And I
at
keep
27
pushing
out of
serious.
32. However, later the same day, Matthias tied VAJ again to get
Uh-oh.
back to 28. And then he got
Dude,
the
I
Toad's
hate
Turnpike
Mateus's use of these fucking emojis. They're pissing me off.
lap record.
It feels
And
taunting.
then the Moo Farm 3 lap record.
Oh no.
Matthias had 30 out of 32 possible records.
He's gonna do it.
The A1A was floundering. Other than the one record from VAJ, they hadn't done anything to stop Matthias.
Stop
But they
him.
did have one big advantage. The last 2 he was missing were 2 of the hardest to achieve in the whole game. Let's break them down. We'll start with Moo Farm. This record
Oh,
was
the cows are in the game
27.82
now.
by TJL, set in March 2013. First, the obvious. TJL played as Yoshi. The 3 fastest characters in the game are Yoshi, Toad, and Peach, with no major gameplay differences
Peach?
between the 3 of them.
Good for her.
So, every record you'll see in this video will be played as one of those characters. TJL also performed mini turbos all over. By drifting with R and wiggling the thumbstick back and forth twice, you can charge up a boost that can be released for a burst of speed when the smoke turns orange. By performing these in specific places all around the track, you can move through it much
what
quicker
the
than normal.
fuck?
The mini
Look at this
turbos and character
gameplay.
selection hold true for all 16 courses. But Moo Farm has something in particular that makes it unique.
What?
It has the only random element in any of the time trial courses. Moles that randomly pop out of their holes. The optimal path around the course involves going
Fuck this
over
map.
the holes, and if one pops up while your cart is over it, it'll hit you and force you to reset. The record holder here was TJL. He's what you might call
I'm sorry. 27 seconds to beat the 3 fucking laps?
a course specialist.
Is
He
that
set
what
a
it?
total of 19 Mario Kart 64 records over
Oh,
about
one
5
lap.
years.
Oh, then that's not that good.
14 of those 19 records were improvements to Moo Farm. He was able to master this course in ways that nobody else could, subconsciously understanding technicalities about ways to drift and angles to take.
Just kidding.
After years of on and off attempts, he got a 27.82, a time he described as a once-in-a-lifetime record.
Oh shit.
When Matthias did attempts to replicate this time, he found himself unable to emulate many of TJL's subtle strategies.
Guys,
He
I'm
had
kind of rooting
trouble
for
approaching the
Mateus.
slope where he used the first mushroom and usually lost time there.
I want him to get 32 out of
The
32.
other record Mateus didn't have, DK Jungle Parkway 3-lap, was held by William Lacey.
He's the GOAT.
Lacey was even more dominant
Lacey?
at this track than TJL was at
Phase
Moving
the
Farm.
fuck up.
He had held the record for over 10 years, lowering the record 14 times in a row, ultimately ending
Holy
with
shit.
a 213.08. DK Jungle Parkway is a bizarre course to go for records on. You have to drive through the jungle while twisting and turning your way through the grass. Near the start is a big ramp you have to precisely jump off of. The
What
farther
the
to the left you
fuck?
go, the faster. However, go too far left and you'll fall in the water. There's also a cave at the end, where the fastest way to get to the top involves mashing R to hop up a steep slope.
What the
Doing
fuck?
this fast is incredibly precise, but after years of playing, Lacey was an expert at it.
It looks
Since
easy.
the record holders for Moo Farm Lap and DK Jungle Parkway 3-lap were so dominant on their respective courses,
Toxic Crane,
Matias
thank you.
struggled to
Thank you,
catch up
Taco.
while
Thank you,
also
Confused.
holding his other 30 records. So, the Alliance was eventually able to make a dent in his record total. Throughout
it
late
looks easy, it's
2013
probably
and early
impossible.
2014, players like Jamie, Zoran, and MJ were able to chip away and take a few records from Matias. They weren't quite on the same level as him, but they each had the potential to set a record if they grinded it out. But, unfortunately for the Alliance, whenever someone took one of Matias's records, he would almost always beat it back in a matter of days.
Damn. Matias
So,
is that
with his
guy.
record total sitting at 29, it was unclear if the Alliance's plan was sustainable. They had players who could compete with Matias, but nobody
fucking
who could
goat.
keep up with him. But then, in May 2014, a new player came along to join the Alliance.
Uh-oh. Squeex.
His name was Dan Burbank.
Dan fucking Burbank.
That May, Dan got his first world record by beating Matias's Frapp Snowland lap record. Of course, Matias quickly beat him back a week later, but then Dan did something that everyone else in the community struggled to do. He beat Matias back. There were no new strategies, no revolutionary new mechanics.
Dan
simply
fucking
drove better than
Burbank.
Matias. This pattern continued over the following months, and it soon became clear. Dan actually had the skill to keep up with Matias on certain courses.
Yes, Dan. Great job.
So,
Going
as
deep.
2014 went on, even though Matias was actively trying to defend his records, Dan was able to help push Matias's total
Damn,
into the
only to
mid-20s.
26 out of 32
With
now.
so many players in the community
Damn.
actively working against him now, getting a 32 out of 32 seemed nearly impossible. The course he really needed help on was DK Jungle Parkway. If he could just get those two records, he felt confident that he could pick up the rest to get close. And in July 2015, he would get some help from a new DK Jungle Parkway strategy by Lacey. The old lap strategy involved using two mushrooms shortly after the ramp to cut over a
new
section of
strat?
the grass. Lacey recognized that it was actually faster to use only one mushroom here, and saved the second mushroom to use over a later grass patch. Improvements in non-shortcut strategies are typically similar to this. Very
This quality, rather it's the N64. This is what it looks
small changes to precise paths to take
It's a
while
little
driving.
zoomed in though, to be
This
fair.
new mushroom spot meant there was now more time to save over the lap record. Matias had a realistic shot at getting it. And by October 2015, he had done it.
What?
Matias had beaten Lacey on both the 3-lap
No,
and lap
Lacey!
records. Two of the
Dude,
most
Matias is gonna do
problematic
it.
world records were out of the way.
He's gonna do it.
Now, all he had to do was keep grinding to pick up the rest.
He's gonna go back to 30. 28 out of 32. Colon 3. R.I.P. Dan world record.
On November 20th, 2015, Matias posted his 5th record from the past month, a 27.68 lap on Mario Raceway. That meant, for the first time in history, a player had reached 31 out of 32 possible records.
Uh-oh. Is he gonna do
The
it?
only record he was missing was Moo Moo Farm Lap, the 27.82 by TJL. It was the only record in the game he had never held before, and we've already gone over how much he struggled with it in the past. But now that he didn't have any other records to worry about, Matthias could focus all his efforts there. The A1A was on its last legs.
Oh no.
They
Dude,
had put up a
okay, can I just say something? Is this like Alliance just bullying Matthias? They just are trying, because Matthias is just so fucking good, they're like, let's just not let him get every world record. Like, why are they doing this? They're just fucking following him to make sure, like, why?
Fight for the past several months, but eventually Matthias alone had been able to outmatch all of them. Matthias is a really nice guy, and nobody in the Alliance had anything personal against him.
That's what I'm, okay.
But hardly anyone wanted to see someone hold all 32 records at once.
Why?
It would be an embarrassment to all the other record contenders.
All of them
Matthias
are pussies
said in
then.
a forum post that he was gonna be unable to play until November 23rd. So the Alliance at least had until then to try to take a record from him. So, over the weekend, the Alliance got to work. Dan, Zoran, VAJ, and others were trying to take at least one of Matthias's records.
Like, Jaquarium, if Green Suigi had all of the Mario 64 awards, would you be embarrassed? Like, he's close, he's got 5 out of 6, but it wouldn't be embarrassing for all the runners, no.
But as the days passed, nobody was beating any. Even with the Alliance members spending hours each day grinding courses, nobody could take any of Matthias's 31 records. That's how good he was. That's how far ahead his records were. And sure enough, on the morning of November 23rd, 2015, the day Matthias came back to try to match TJL's Moo Moo Farm lap time, a new record was posted. This is Abney317.
The actual
He's one of the
goat.
best in the world at Mario Kart 64, but his area of focus isn't with non-shortcut records. Instead, he's held dozens of shortcut records and the coveted 150cc large
This is our
speed
speed.
run
Look at
record
this.
for years.
What the fuck
But
is
he's had the
this?
skill to take some non-shortcut records too.
Oh, man.
And on November 22nd, 2015, he came to the community's rescue. A 212.61 on Bowser's Castle, a new record by 7/100ths of a second. Abney went after
Damn.
this record in particular because it was one of Matthias's oldest records, being more than 2 years old. Quality of play had gotten slightly better since then, so Abney perceived it as weaker than most of Matthias's other records. And apparently he was right. He was able to use different paths around the thwomps to go faster. But unfortunately for him, that also meant that the very next day, Matthias was able to beat Abney's record to get back to 31 out of 32.
Oh shit. Oh no.
All he needed was to shave 900ths of a second off his Moo Moo Farm lap to get
I kind of want
32 out of
Matthias to
32.
do it.
He was so close.
Oh,
and he
please.
kept pushing.
Just Moo Moo
But then-
Meadows.
It was Abney to the rescue again, this time on Calamari Desert 3-lap.
Damn,
This
Abney.
record wasn't nearly as old as Bowser's Castle. It was set only a week prior, but it was unoptimized. Just a month ago, a new strategy called hill hopping was first used by a player known as Dotman. By hopping off the hills on the sand at specific points, you get more airtime and don't slow down nearly as much as normal.
Duh. I was about to say the
Abney
same
used this
thing,
to his
Mr.
advantage,
Salt.
and for the second time in just 2 days, he was able to stop Matthias dead in his tracks at 31 out of 32. But that wasn't enough to feel safe. Matthias could casually pick up new records seemingly whenever he wanted, and Abney didn't have as much experience with non-shortcut records. So, just to be safe, Abney figured he should probably go on the attack.
Get him. Oh.
Abney was actually standing
forum
up to
posts.
Matthias. He wasn't just looking to defend his own records. He was actively looking to take records he didn't have.
Damn.
And it was working. During one crazy stretch in January 2016, he set 4 new records in 5 days.
Damn!
It put Matthias down to 27 out of 32,
In
his
5
lowest total
days.
in months. Abney had once again proven that Matthias was beatable.
Mateus, meanwhile, on the other side going, "Grrr!" Like, I'd be so mad.
As always, Matthias
I'd be
came
so
back to
fucking
racing
mad.
later that month, 4 records down from where he was just weeks prior. But rather than be intimidated by what Abney had just done, he saw 4 records that were well within his
Colon D,
abilities
but
to beat.
grrr.
2 of them were on long courses with room for optimization, Wario Stadium and Rainbow Road. Because of Matthias' ability to take just slightly better lines and optimize his driving, he knew that there was room for improvement over Abney's record. And he was right, picking them both up in a matter of weeks.
Oh,
The other 2, Calamari Desert and Bowser's Castle,
he's
each
back.
had new strategies that Matthias hadn't implemented yet. The hill hopping on Calamari Desert, and different thwomp paths on Bowser's Castle. Once he did, 2 more quick world records, putting his record total right back to 31 out of 32. His
Oh my God,
3rd time
please
achieving that total.
Give it to him.
It was miraculous
please.
how he could do this. If someone took Matthias' records, he would just immediately grind to beat them back. People could temporarily beat him, but he would always prevail in the end. The one exception, of course,
Moo Moo
was
Meadows
Moo Moo Farm.
or Moo Moo
For
Farms.
the 3rd time, he just needed that one record
Give
to
it
get
to
32 out of
him.
32. And for the 3rd time, Abney took the chance away from him.
It's so mean. It's too mean.
It was Calamari Desert this time, beating Matthias by 6
eye roll
hundredths of a
emoji.
second. Matthias only had the chance to grind Moo Moo Farm for about 12 hours, because that's how long it took Abney to get the record.
Lol.
That made it 3 times that Matthias had made it to 31 out of 32,
Come
with just Moo
on.
Moo Farm standing in the way, only to
Mateus.
be stopped by Abney at the last minute. Just remarkable. Matthias typically plays less Mario Kart in the summer, so in the middle of 2016 he took a
He's
step
out like
back from the game.
chilling.
Who could blame him after coming so close that many times?
I'd be pissed.
So, for several months, he didn't make any progress in his quest for 32 out of 32. The summer came and went. By October, he came back. And when he did, this is what he saw.
Oh God. Oh no.
Dan had just made a major statement.
Oh my God, Dan Burbank.
Matthias was down to just 24 out of 32
No.
records, his lowest total in 3 years. This
That's
is
so
what the community was
bad.
capable of doing in just a few short months if Matthias wasn't there to aggressively defend his records. In the past, Dan had focused his world record efforts on Frapp Snowland and Mario Raceway. But since he had the time, in mid-2016 he got a lot better at other courses too.
Damn, dude, they're just
And
like
picked up
drifting the
records on
entire
courses
time.
Like Wario
Look at this.
Stadium and Yoshi Valley. Again,
Holy
it was nothing
shit.
revolutionary. Just learning the right lines to take, how to take each turn, and other small driving mechanics.
It's crazy.
But regardless, the end result was there. Matthias was
America!
far away from perfection.
Go
And
Dan
it seemed like
Burbank.
maybe
Dude, the most fucking American name ever as well. Dan fucking Burbank to the rescue.
just maybe, the community could take it easy and not have to worry about 32 out of 32. But then, in October, Matthias did this.
I'm so intrigued. Go, Mateus. Look at him. 26. He got 2.
Yes! 212.67. Clutched it
Ooh.
with a cave. What a cave.
28. 2 more. Come on, get to 32, Mateus. Damn, what a jump.
Yes! 23.
Holy shit. Wait, does he do it? No, he doesn't go to 32.
Over the course of just
Come
4
on.
weeks in October 2016,
I'm really rooting
Matthias set
for him.
7 new world records. All of the months of
This
work
is the
throughout
one
2016
time.
done by Dan, Abney, and others were undone in a matter of weeks. World records on Wario Stadium, Mario Raceway,
Please don't do
DK
it,
Jungle
Abney.
Parkway,
Please.
Calamari Desert,
Please,
Yoshi
Abney.
Valley, all
Show
by
mercy.
simply outdriving
Take
the
a
other record
vacation.
holders. And that meant that for the 4th time, Matias was at 31 out of 32 records. Once again, the one that was missing
Moo Moo
was
Meadows.
Moo Moo Farm Lap.
Oh.
Let's take a closer look at that record. It was 27.82 by TJL, whereas Matias's best time was 27.91.
You can do it.
TJL's record was one of the oldest records still standing at
0.1.
this point,
Can
being
you
set
believe
all
that?
the way back in March 2013, shortly after Matias first became the
0.1
non-shortcut
away.
champion. Moo Moo Farm is a very unique course, with slopes you have to go up and a fence you have to drive as closely to as possible. There's 3 very particular spots you have to use your mushrooms, hugging the inside fence and driving over the moles while you
Jesus.
do. TJL had been able to completely master it back in 2013. But since Matias...
0.1 in single lap is a lot, yes. But imagine it like from a non-speedrunner. Like I can imagine just hearing like following lines being like arbitrary, but like imagine 0.1 accuracy is crazy. 0.1 difference between you and a fucking
had
world
31
record.
other records
It's
to worry
crazy.
about. He just couldn't quite figure out how to
0.1.
do this course optimally.
It's
Well, until
insane.
now.
87. I felt the PR. I felt it.
It was a personal best by 0.04 of a second, meaning Matias was now a 20th of a second away from 32 out of
20th
32.
of a second.
His other 31 out of 32s only lasted for a day or two at most. But this one was different. 5 days later, by Halloween night, he was still alive at 31 out of 32. Abney wasn't there. Dan wasn't there.
Oh my god.
The Alliance had gone radio silent.
He does it.
The only thing there was Matias grinding Moo Moo Farm,
Halloween.
closer to the record than ever.
32 out of
And
32.
then Lacey came to the rescue.
Fucking Lacey.
On October
Phase the
31st,
fuck up.
2016, Lacey got a 2:12.50 on
Phase the
DK
fuck
Jungle
up.
Parkway 3-lap. This course, especially on the 3-lap
Dude, let
side,
him get it.
really was Lacey's specialty. It was his 23rd world record there, and this one couldn't have come at a bigger time. The thing is, Matias definitely was the better driver of the two of them. Lacey just knew this course inside and out, and he was still a really good driver. He
Is
knew
he-
exactly
his
where to go
colon
on the ramp,
Ds,
exactly how
they
to take
don't-
the slopes through the jungle,
they're not there anymore.
exactly how to mash on the
No
cave
more.
at the end. This one
more
course took
Mr.
up
Nice
a ton
Mateus.
of his Mario Kart 64 playing time, whereas it was only a small fraction for Matias. As expected, the community was elated. 4 times now, Matias had been at 31 out of 32, and 4 times he had been stopped at the last minute. And you might be noticing a pattern at this point. Matias would get really
Dude,
close to
the
32
fact that he
out of
hasn't quit
32,
is crazy.
then someone would stop him at the nick of time, Matias would stop playing for a while, and then the community would grind together and take his total down lower. Well, that would happen again now in 2017. But this time, the community took it a step further.
What? No, he's
By
down.
November
He
2017,
never gets it.
Matias was at 21
What a
out of
sad
32
ending.
records, his lowest total in 4 years. There
Wait,
were
that's
2
such a
reasons his total
sad
got this low.
ending.
The first was the usual period of inactivity from Matias. He didn't completely stop playing, but he wasn't aggressively defending his non-shortcut records. And second, Dan took his gameplay to the next level. At one point in July 2017, he had 11 world records, the first time someone other than Matias had had that many records in years. This was Matias's lowest point since his quest for 32 out of 32 started.
USA.
He knew he could get most of those records back, but what would it matter? We've seen it time and time again. Matthias would get his total up to 31 out of 32 with some effort, only to be stopped by one course in particular. Moo Moo Farm Lap was always in his way.
Of course, it's like Moo Moo Farm, like with these little cows. Like it was just like Bowser or something, but it's these fucking cows. Like it's not like some like hardcore final boss shit.
27.82 by TJL was his nemesis, and it was just too good for him to beat.
Oh, that's actually
But then-
really sad. He does it! Oh
He did
shit! He did
On
it!
November 27th, 2017,
He beat
Matthias
Moo
tied
Moo
TJL's
fucking-
legendary 27.82. The key to getting it was playing the course a ton. It came at the end of a several-week-long grind, where he had
Damn!
dozens of laps in the 2780s. During that time, he mastered everything there was to know about Moo Moo Farm, and ultimately it all came together on one magical
Matthias
run.
is the GOAT.
His shrooms were clean, his mini turbos were perfectly timed on the slopes, his driving was tight. In March 2013, TJL set a magical run with his 27.82. It took Matthias 4.5 years, but
Jesus.
finally he had replicated.
4.5 years of trying one lap of one map of one game. Like, it's crazy.
It. And it changed everything. This was the one world record Matthias had been unable to hold. The one record preventing him from getting 32 out of 32
Goal
for
indeed.
the past 2 years.
Good,
Now,
really good
he had
story,
it out of the way.
Matthias.
He stood at 22 out of 32 records.
Do it, Matthias!
He had gotten each of the remaining
Grind
10 records
it!
before, and he knew he could get
32!
them again.
Please!
It was time, once and for all, to get 32 out of 32.
Finish the story, Matthias! 25.
Oh yes, that should be enough.
Ooh!
25.
Come on! You can do it! This is like attempt number 7. He's gotta do it.
Yes! Let's go. 60.
Sure enough, 3 months later, despite some resistance from Dan, Matthias was back to 31 out of 32.
Oh my god, please
The
give it
last
to
record he
him.
needed
Please.
was DK Jungle Parkway 3 lap. A course he had struggled with at times, but still a record he had held on 4 separate occasions in the past. His best time was 2:12.58. The record was 2:12.35 by Lacey. He was behind, but this record was certainly within reach. Time to finish the job.
Finish the fucking story. Thank you, J-Boy.
And then, on March 13th, 2018,
He does it.
Matthias made history.
He does it. Wait, that's Abney.
He was beaten by Abney on Calamari Desert at the last minute.
Oh no! That's so evil.
For the 3rd time. This was starting to get absurd. It was the 4th time Abney had prevented 32 out of 32. The 3rd time on Calamari Desert. And of course, Matthias congratulated Abney on the Mario Kart 64
Call it.
forums,
No emoji.
only to beat him the very next day. Right back to 31 out of 32.
Okay, yes.
Without a chance for the Alliance to gain any ground.
Yes. Yes.
So, Matthias was back to playing DK Jungle Parkway, 0.19 behind the record. And once again,
0.19.
he got results right away, getting a personal best that pushed him to just 0.15 behind Lacey's record.
Get the record.
This strategy from the Alliance clearly wasn't working. Even if someone beat one of Matthias's 31 records, he could usually get it back within a day or so. That wasn't a good long-term solution. Dan recognized this problem, so he started doing a strategy that few others dared to. He grinded DK Jungle Parkway 3-lap alongside Matthias.
Oh shit! Please, that's
This
so
method
evil.
certainly had its positives
Let
and
him
negatives.
get it.
On the upside, if he beat Matthias to the punch, it could make it harder to finish the
Dan
job and get
fucking
32 out of
Burbank.
32. But Dan had only
Dan
held this record once
Burbank.
before, and Matthias certainly had the upper edge. If he failed to beat him, that would be a lot of time wasted he could have spent on any of the other courses. This certainly was a gamble. But it paid off, because on March 16th, 2018, Dan set one of the clutchest records in Mario Kart 64 history.
USA, we're back.
This beat
We're
the record
fucking
by
back.
almost 0.2 of a second. It put Matthias back to 0.34 behind the world record.
Yes, Lydia, Dan
But
Burbank
its
is
true
me,
dividends
secretly.
would be paid the next day, when Matthias got this time. It missed being the world record by 24 hours. Had he gotten it the prior day, it would have been 32 out of 32.
Oh
But thanks to
my
Dan's brand new record-
God. That's so evil. That's so evil.
He was just barely behind,
No.
by a matter of 0.08.
Oh my God.
Still, they were clearly playing with fire. Matthias was less than
Brutal.
1/10 of a second from 32 out of 32.
Fucking
And had proven
brutal.
he was capable of taking time off his DK Jungle Parkway time fairly easily. This wasn't Moo Moo Farm. Any day, he could take this record.
Do it.
And he was constantly trying. The community watched in anticipation, waiting to see when they would have to crown Matthias as the ultimate champion.
Please.
But on March 23rd, they breathed a collective sigh of relief.
Oh, fucking Abney.
That sub. Oh man.
How was Abney able to keep doing this?
Abney's the GOAT.
Well, the record still hadn't completely been optimized from the hill hops. But on Matthias's last Calamari Desert
He's a
record,
legend.
he
He's
had been
so
able to
good.
go under the first train gap on
What
lap 3.
the
whereas
fuck was that? What the? I don't even know that was possible. How are the hitboxes on N64 so accurate?
all previous records were too slow and had to make the
Wait,
second one.
what the fuck?
So, Abney's goal was to hill hop effectively enough and drive fast enough to match
fuck.
Matthias and make the first train gap.
Holy shit.
He was able to do it, and thanks to just slightly better driving overall, he shaved enough time off to beat Matthias and once again send him back to 30 out of 32. But with how close Matthias was, Abney thought it might be best to keep going. So, he set his sights on a new target,
Come on.
both the 3-lap and lap records on Rainbow Road. He targeted these in particular
never gets it,
because
does he?
A, they were each over 2 years old, meaning
doesn't
the
have an happy
community's overall
ending.
quality of driving had improved since then, and B, they were on the longest course in the game, meaning there was likely room to optimize them. And within a matter of days, he nonchalantly picked both of them up.
Damn.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Let's go.
Damn. He's actually so
Straight into the
sick.
jump.
So that put Matthias back at 28 out of 32 records. In one quick swoop from Abney, momentum was back in the Alliance's favor. Things were looking up for them. So Matthias got back to work, and this is what he did over the next week.
Come on. Yes.
This is the time.
That's it.
This is
71 on
it!
the last lap.
This is it. Matthias.
Yes.
He can do it.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
He was back.
31.
This was now the
Please.
7th time Matthias had 31 out of 32 records. He had more determination than ever now to finish the job. The record was 212.14 by Dan, and he was right behind him with a 212.24. He quickly found results with a small personal best. But on May 1st, disaster struck for Matthias. Zoran, the founder of the A1A, beat the DK Jungle Parkway lap record.
How many times?
That meant that now, Matthias was missing both records on this course. And what occurred throughout May 2018 can only be described as a mad scramble on DK Jungle Parkway. Dan was grinding the 3-lap record, Zoran was grinding the lap record,
Give it to him! Just
and
give it to
Matthias was grinding
Matthias!
both. But ultimately, even though Matthias was lowering his best times, having to deal with both Dan and Zoran was just too much for him.
They're bullying him!
Despite coming insanely close, he couldn't get either record. And eventually, he stopped trying. And his record total began to fall into the 20s. Months passed, and as more of Matthias's records were taken, reality began to set in. His window for perfection was probably gone. He had had 7 opportunities to get 32 out of 32. All of them were foiled at the last minute. Moo Farm was his nemesis for a long time,
Foiled!
with TJL's ridiculous lap being too hard to beat.
No.
After finally conquering that record,
That's so sad.
DK Jungle Parkway stood in his way. Lacey's expertise just barely kept him ahead. And
Fuck
once
the
Zoran got
Alliance.
involved on the single lap record, it was just too much for him. Matthias was probably the greatest person to ever play Mario Kart 64. But even for him, holding every record at once
He
was just
squeaked
too
it?
big a task.
I'd be honored if that counts as Squeex to...
I can't believe it. Is this real? Guys, is this real or am I dreaming? 2:11.72 out of nowhere.
At least, that's what everyone thought. But on November 20th, 2018, Matthias pulled off a miracle on
What?
DK Jungle Parkway 3.
What?
He took almost half a second off his
Wait!
personal best to crush the world record.
Wait!
Matthias himself didn't see this coming. Nobody did.
Wait a
But it
second!
meant he might be able to make one last push at this. Now, he just had to pick up the rest of the records he was
Wait a
missing.
second!
That took him all of about 2 days. One record left.
31!
Jungle Parkway lap.
Last push! Come on! Come
The
on!
record was 42.07 by Zoran. Prior to Zoran taking it in May 2018, Matthias had held the record for the past 2.5 years, so he certainly knew what he was doing. But to beat the time that Zoran had put up was going to be asking for a lot.
You
There
can
were
do
two
it.
big tricks he had to focus on. First, the ramp jump. There's a very specific place you want to land, just to the left of this tree.
Don't
Lining
praise
yourself up when
Dan.
you go off the ramp is super tough, but Zoran's record did so perfectly. And second,
Holy
the
fuck.
cave jumps at the end. We saw before how important these were, but lap runs add a mushroom in here to take them even faster. There's a very specific way you need to hop up to the top. As far to the left as you can be, but too far left is too steep and you'll tumble.
Jesus.
All of that was a tall order.
But he does it!
luckily, Matthias was the best the world had.
He does it! 32 out of
This one was
32?
within reach. His thousands of time trial attempts, his 7 other times at 31 out of 32,
8
they
parentheses.
all came down to this. It was time to finish off his dream. 32 out of 32.
Yes,
world
please,
records.
please. Ooh, look at that driving, smooth movement, perfectly executed jump. Oh my god, 34.51. He's tied. He's tied with the record.
Oh, shocking. Shocking.
0.04.
Oh no!
Come on, Mateus!
Oh,
Please!
that's so tough to swallow. How close can you get?
Craigasm. Dude. He gets it, obviously, right? I'm scared. Oh, I thought my computer shut off. I almost started crying. Sorry. True cinema. This has got to be the run. Oh my god, he's on world record by 0.04. Just play perfectly now. Spam it.
No!
No! Why?
Ouch.
Why? Why?
What did I do?
No! He has to get it, right? In the video. No, Abney! Don't switch to Abney!
19. Yes. Oh my god, dude.
A dream-crushing record from Abney. How close had Matthias come? Well, he tumbled in the cave because he was just barely too far left. As in, half the width of a cart too far left.
Oh my
Had
god.
he not tumbled, it almost certainly would have been either tied with or ahead of Zoran's record, meaning 32 out of 32. 5 years of trying, and thousands of hours playing Mario Kart 64 came down to one tiny failed motion. He just held the control stick slightly too far left. That was the difference between 32 out of 32 and another failed attempt.
Ban Abney? No,
Following-
Abney's actually one of my, has been, chatter here. The Abney's actually like the goat of Mario Kart.
Yes, Matthias's record total would never recover. Instead, it was Dan's and Abney's turn to celebrate, pushing certain time trials to levels they had never seen before.
Yes! Yes! There we go, boys. Yes! 54! Yes! Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I would have this record easy if it weren't for my peanut allergy.
And that's where this story ends. At least for now.
Wait! Wait! It's the song!
Matthias may have never accomplished his goal, but what he did do is honestly just as impressive. 249 total non-shortcut records. 8 separate times at 31 out of 32. He just never got the last one to finish the job. But the thing is, he might not be done yet. Matthias still plays Mario Kart 64 actively to this day. his potential remains right there. He might still be in the middle of his quest for 32 out of 32.
He could do it.
But wherever he goes in the future, we know he'll have tough competition along the way. Thanks for watching.
This is the best video I've ever seen in my whole life. This is the greatest video I've ever seen. What the fuck do you mean? That's like better than most movies. Holy shit. That was incredible. Like, I can't believe it. Here's the link. That was incredible. I literally had no idea I was gonna end. That is so sad. Man. That is so sad. I wish he got it. It actually bummed me out. He was so close. 9 times? Did he get it, maybe? Wait, there's another one. The quest to beat Abney. Wait, but it's an hour. We can't watch that. Wait, there's a follow-up video. Dude, I can't. We're gonna have a summoning assault day. Oh my god, there's a fucking another one. That one is legit so good. Wait, really? Should we just watch it? Collar Ripper, thank you. Oh my god. Okay, let's watch it. Okay, fine. Fine. Cat Leah, thank you. Thank you. J Raff, thank you for the sub. Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna watch it. If you guys want to stretch, go ahead. Do whatever you gotta do. Yeah, big shout out to Summoning Salt. Like, this is amazing. I don't even know how you make a video like this. There's a lot of hard work goes into it. Yeah. And like things like Mario Kart, I saw like some people in the chat saying like, you know, like probably joking, like, why would you fucking spend so much time playing this? It's a mental illness or whatever. But like what makes something so special, like, is that you do it and grind in it without the expectation of like fame or money. It's like, you know, back in the day, that's what streaming used to be. That's what esports used to be. It's just a bunch of people in a room trying to get good at something for the love of getting good at it. It's the essence of competition. And it's like the most truest form of it. So like you can interpret that as a mental illness or whatever because there's no money involved or fame, but it's a beautiful thing. And videos like this is cool because it brings a spotlight to it. There's so many like different little there's so many different little storylines in different games that I like experiencing. I wouldn't have seen this without Summoning Salt, so it's cool. Yeah. Love the game. Love the fucking game. Like, one in chat if you would have never fucking seen this. I wouldn't have if it wasn't for this YouTube video. So, yeah. I certainly would be spamming one. Okay, nerd. Yeah, true.